जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Everyone, much louder please. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गोकुलानंद श्री राधे। जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल। हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे कृष्ण। To all the extremely wonderfully magnanimous and wonderful esteemed guests present here, Matajis, Prabhujis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, children, boys, girls, everyone, my unlimited gratitude in the form of obeisances. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the arrangement. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for this lovely opportunity to serve all of you. I bow down hundreds and hundreds of times, expressing gratitude. Also, before starting, I beg for your mercy and your prayers and blessings. May the right words come at the right time, in the right mood of glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, purifying our consciousness and pulling our hearts closer and closer to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda for their loving eternal service. Vancha kalpataru. Oh. Remember this sound? Yes. How many of us felt, wow, just speaking about cows, going home and still remembering the cows of Vrindavan? One devotee was telling me yesterday, Prabhu, we called you for Bhadra campaign, and it was not Divyanam Prabhu, right? It was not Divyanam Prabhu. He said, Prabhu, we called you to glorify the Bhadra campaign, glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. And he said, you did that by making the Goshala devotees happy. He said, devotees in the Goshala were thinking, wow, that's just more awareness for service to cows. In fact, one devotee even told me 2-3 devotees signed up for service at the Goshala. So that's the power of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's begin with a very, very beautiful verse. I believe it's here. Is everyone able to see it or no? Not the projection screen, but the verse in that screen. Are you able to see if is the font okay? The screen is too low. Here Srimad Bhagavatam is hanging low as a very beautiful juicy fruit to uplift us. Dear devotees, can we do something for this so that devotees can... Are we able to... Because I can't see it. All right. Lovely, lovely. But till then, in the interest of time, let's get started. Very beautiful verse from the Bhagavat Mahatmya, glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam from the Puranas, composed by Bhagavan Vyasadeva, on the effect of speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, singing the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. What do we get? Let's hear. Very beautiful verse. Bhrumodya te kim adhikam mahimanam eva brahmatmakasya bhuvi bhagavatabhidhasya yat samshrayan nigadate labhate suvakta Shrotapi Krishna Samatam Alam Anya Dharmai Bhrumodyate Kimadhikam Mahimanameva Bhrumodyate Kimadhikam Mahimanameva Brahmatmakasya bhuvi bhagavatabhidasya Brahmatmakasya bhuvi bhagavatabhidasya I think there's a spelling, the "the" is not printed in the third line, but we will chant it. Yat samshayan nigadate labhate suvakta shrotapi Krishna samatam alamanya dharmaihi. Let's chant this once more. Bhrumodyate kimadhikam mahimanameva Brahmatmakasya bhuvi bhagavadabhidasya Yat samshrayan nigadate labhate suvakta Shrotapi Krishna samatam alamanya dharmai How would we do it together this time? United we stand, right? Let's do this. Bhrumodyate kimadhikam mahimanameva Brahmatmakasya bhuvi bhagavadabhidasya Yat samshrayan nigadate labhate suvakta Shrotapi Krishna samatam alamanya dharmai. Beautiful. Bhagavan Vyasadeva has composed this. And he says, Bhrumodyate kimadhikam mahimanameva. What can be said of the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam? Adya means today. What can I or what can we today speak about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam? So much has been spoken and still we haven't even touched the shore of the oceanic glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Kim adhikam mahimanameva. As far as the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, what else can be said? It's only word jugglery that we can do to kind of fill in our gratitude, but we can't ever fully describe the glories. Why? Brahmatmakasya bhuvi bhagavad abhidhasya. What appears in this world with the name Bhagavata is Brahmatmaka, which means it is the direct manifested incarnation of Parabrahman, Sri Krishna. So point number one, Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna. Now point number two, Yat samshrayan nigadate labhate suvakta. By taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, now this is a very interesting point. Samshrayat, not simply speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, living by those principles of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, studying Srimad Bhagavatam, making an endeavor to use those principles in real life, and making the gap between knowledge and realization closer and closer and closer and closer. Not just that we have so much knowledge about the verses and the commentaries and the flow of Srimad Bhagavatam with no realization. We don't want to be that. So samshrayan means there's complete harmony, synthesis between practice, thought, and word of the student of Srimad Bhagavatam. If such a person speaks, nigadate, if he speaks, then what does that suvakta, that great speaker, what does he receive? Forget about what the speaker receives. What does the listener receive? Shrotapi, right? What does the speaker and the listener receive by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam? and singing and hearing and speaking and glorifying and remembering these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, what do we gain? Krishna Samatam. Krishna Samatam means proximity to Krishna. The promise given in the Puranas is anybody who studies Srimad Bhagavatam, sings Srimad Bhagavatam, distributes Srimad Bhagavatam, listens to Srimad Bhagavatam, and constantly meditates on the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. What does it mean to meditate on these verses? It's not a scholastic approach of how many verses you know and how many verses I know and how many degrees have we studied. Do you have a Bhakti Shastri? Do you have a Bhakti Vaibhav? All these degrees and all these certificates are approved by Srila Prabhupada. It is necessary. But what's even more important is to live by those ideals that Srimad Bhagavatam, the virtues, the principles, those etiquettes that Srimad Bhagavatam teaches. If we know the whole pastime of Dhruva, but if we don't have that determination of Dhruva to find God, it's like licking the bottle of honey from outside. Imagine if we speak about Ajamil again and again, and if that doesn't drive us to the point of chanting the holy name and giving up sinful activities, then that's like licking the bottle of honey. It's certainly a bottle of honey, but that's licking from outside. So taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam means understanding the core principles behind those pastimes and living life by those principles. So if someone studies Srimad Bhagavatam with that mood and sees this world around through the vision of Srimad Bhagavatam, not colored by our own egos, not colored and tainted by, well, he's saying it like this, but I'll tell you the truth. There's another side to his personality. We have so much joy in paradosha kirtan, doing the kirtan of the faults of others. And I am not being a saint who's coming here to give a sermon. I am part of the problem. I am very much part of the problem. I don't know of all of you. Maybe you're part of the solution. But I am certainly part of the problem. Like most conditioned souls are. So instead of seeing this world, seeing circumstances, seeing people through the color, through the lenses of our own egos, if we learn to see this world through the lens of Srimad Bhagavatam, anytime somebody troubles us, anytime somebody tries to obstruct something good that we are doing, this morning we were speaking about it. Think about Prithu Maharaj, who went from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, went up to 99 fire sacrifices, and then was ready to listen to Brahma and stop it all. He didn't say, well, you could have told me the first time I was doing a yajna, I wouldn't have spent and wasted my time doing 98 of them. Why did you tell me at 99? He didn't think like that. He said, if I'm able to do 99 and my desire is to get to 100 fire sacrifices, but if Brahma is happy, Vishnu is happy just with 99, and if Indra's envy is not agitated with me touching that 100 mark, because Indra was the only one with 100, and he didn't want anybody to come close. So as soon as Prithu was at 99, Indra started getting agitated, insecure of his seat. So Brahma and Vishnu, they told him, the purpose of your fire sacrifice is to please us, we are pleased. Prithu was ready to drop the ball at that point and say, Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. The purpose of my life is to please you, my Lord. This 99 in the Bhagavatam is valued more than the 100 of Indra, because Indra performed 100 for his own position, while Prithu was ready to drop it at 99 out of obedience to Brahma. If this is the principle that we catch in our life through that pastime and see circumstances through the lens of that teaching, that is studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So this verse says, Bhrumodyate kim adhikam mahimanameva brahmatmakasya bhuvi bhagavadabhidhasya yat samshrayan nigadate labhate suvakta shrotapi krishna samatam alamanya dharmaihi. If a speaker speaks out of that realization and the listener receives Srimad Bhagavatam with that sincerity, proximity to Krishna's lotus feet is guaranteed. Which means that heart, which is fertile with these virtues, will bear the beautiful, wonderful flower of Bhava Bhakti, only to become the juicy fruit of Vraja Prem, love for Vrindavan. So with that, as the beautiful introduction, let's review where we were last night. The glories of the cows of Vrindavan. Wow, let's continue. Let's speak a little more about the cows. Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Geetam Piyusha Uttabhita Karna Putai Pibantya Shavasnutastanapaya Kavalasmatasthor Govindam Drisha Shukala Sprashantya. As you read the translation mentally, we take our consciousness back to what we were discussing last night. Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita. Krishna's beautiful form is oozing nectar for the eyes of the cows and calves. And Krishna's flute sound is filling up the vessels or the cup of the ears of the cows. Last night, you remember? Were the ears like this? They were like upraised cups to hold the nectar of Krishna's flute. All that discussion that we had last evening was based on this one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita. Srila Sanatana Goswami in his Brihad Vaishnav Toshini says something fabulous. Srila Sanatana Goswami Padiki. He mentions, wherever there is nectar, it must have a source, right? The nectar must have a source. And according to Shastra, where's nectar found? It's found on the moon. Because moon is where there's somras. Even poetically speaking, the moonbeams are considered to be ambrosial nectar. So the moon is the source for that nectar. Right? And even as far as Shastra is concerned, on the moon planet, the residents, they drink an intoxicant. Not liquor, but divine intoxicant. It's called Somarasa, which is considered to be nectar. So Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad writes, if Krishna's flute sound is nectar, what is Krishna's face compared to? The moon. The spotless full moon of Vrindavan. Krishna is Krishna Chandra. What is Krishna called? Krishna Chandra. Or sometimes he's called Vrindavan Chandra. He's called Vrindavan Chandra because he's the moon of Vrindavan. He's called Vraja Chandra. In all incarnations, he's Chandra. In Treta Yuga, he's called Ramachandra. As you are speaking these names out, I am becoming a cow. And with my ears, of course, it can become vessel. It's an insignificant cup. But it's trying to hold the nectar of your chanting. So in Treta Yuga, he appeared as Ramachandra. And in Dwapar Yuga as Krishna Chandra. And in Kali Yuga as Gaura Chandra. It's always connected to the moon. But in Krishna Leela, Srila Sanatana Goswami has written a commentary to this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, every word of Srimad Bhagavatam is like a cotton swab. And you can pluck out as many beautiful, wonderful meanings and pastimes and interpretations as possible. And you spend 5 days, 7 days discussing one verse, and you still feel, there was still so much more to discuss. Unfortunately, time is short. It's impossible to understand how Shukdev Goswami finished 18,000 verses in 7 days. It's unbelievable. We have heard Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke on one verse for like 30 days. The Janmadhyasya Yatonvayaditaratas Charteshva Bhitnyaswarat, the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Sanatana Goswami, while commenting to this verse, he says, Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita. That Krishna Mukha is Chandra Mukha. It's the face which is like the moon. Now what's astonishing is when you say Krishna's face is the moon, nobody has a problem. It's beautiful. But when Krishna says, hey Radhike, your face is the moon, then Radharani gets angry. She gets into man, sulking anger. And she finds that to be the greatest critical remark. The greatest criticism ever possible. How dare you compare my face to a moon? Krishna said, it's very beautiful. Radharani said, the moon is beautiful only at night. But during the daytime, you don't see the moon. So are you saying that I have a beautiful face only at night? When there's nothing more beautiful than, well, oh Radhe, your face is very beautiful. Is that how it is? Krishna said, no, I'm sorry. What I meant is your face is very beautiful like the moon. Radharani said it's a wrong example. Because the moon goes through waxing and waning. There's increase and decrease in size. Are you about to say that I am like a full moon only once in 15 days? Are you also saying sometimes my face is like a no moon? Krishna said, no, that's not what I meant. Radharani said, there's another problem with that poetic metaphor. The moon has so many spots. Are you saying my face is full of spots? Krishna said, no, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I just want to say your face is very beautiful like the moon. Radharani said, there's another problem with that metaphor. She says, what's the problem with that metaphor? Is that the moon came out of the churning of the milk ocean. So Krishna said, that's correct. So Kirtida Devi, your mother is like an ocean of milk in the form of affection. And by the churning of her heart, you appeared. Radharani said, but there's a very big problem. Before the moon appeared in the churning of the milk ocean, first poison came. So before I appeared, my brother Sridhama appeared. So are you trying to say that if I am the moon, my brother is poisonous? Krishna said, I will take that metaphor back. Now what's very interesting is Lord Shiva heard this conversation. And when he had to glorify Radharani in the Radha Kripa Kataksha, he called Srimati Radharani Sharadendu Mandale, which means, O Radharani, whose face is so beautiful that even millions and millions of autumn moons don't give a proper metaphorical balance. Radharani said, that's accepted. So Lord Shiva still compared it to the moon, but he compared it the other way. She whose face is so beautiful that millions of moons can't match up with that beauty. Sharadendu Mandale, Vichitra Chitra Sanchara Chakora Shavalochane, Kada Karishyasi Hamam Kripa Kataksha Bhachana. Anyway, as I said, every word of Srimad Bhagavatam is a river stream. It can take you to so many beautiful pastimes. Coming back to the verse. Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita. So if Krishna's face is the moon, the nectar, the somaras that comes out, that Krishna fills into the holes of the flute. Piyusham in the second line. That's the nectar. Utta Bhita means Uttam Bhita. To upraise the ears. Karana Putai means the ear holes. Pibantya. Pibantya means to drink. Now this is very beautiful because in this world, through the ear holes we can only hear. But here, Pibantya. Piba means to drink. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam, right? So the cows are drinking the soma ras of the flute sound coming from the full moon of Krishna's face through the vessels of their ear holes. How sweet is Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, are you studying my books? And the devotee said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, we read your books. Prabhupada said, no, not reading. Are you studying my books? And he said, yes, Prabhupada, daily we read your books. And Prabhupada hit his lotus palms on the table and he said, I am not talking about reading. He said, you read a newspaper, you read a magazine, but you study Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada said it must be done scrutinizingly. Now this is Prabhupada's letter. Prabhupada says it must be done scrutinizingly for 2 to 3 hours every day. Wow. Imagine sitting with like-minded devotees and keeping Srimad Bhagavatam there, and you're not so much concerned about how fast you go or how many chapters or how many verses or how many cantos. You just stay there. You sit with near and dear associates, friends, and you stay there on a verse. You study the purport. You study the different angles of vision of how to perceive that verse in real life. To such an extent that when we walk out of the discussion, next time you see a cow, and what should your heart say? Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita Piyusha Muttavita Karna Putai Vivantya. That's the perfection of studying Srimad Bhagavatam, where we see this world through the verses of our study. Whenever you see a little cow on somebody's altar, you say, Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita. Connecting Srimad Bhagavatam to real life. And then it's described, Shava, which means calves. Snutastana Paya, Kavalasma Tastuhu. Tastuhu means to stand motionless, like painted pictures. The calves are not even attempting to get their mother's milk, but the milk is just flowing from the udder, like love from the heart of the cow, into the mouth of the calf, dripping into the floor, because the calf has forgotten to swallow because it's busy drinking nectar. When you get nectar and when you get milk, nobody's going to pick the milk. Everyone's sipping the nectar. So through the eye, the cow and the calf are drinking the nectar of Krishna's Rupa Madhuri. Wow, how beautiful is Gopal. Can you imagine Yashoda's child? With dust all over his body. He looks even more beautiful. For us, we may not look so beautiful even without the dust. Right? And definitely not so beautiful with the dust. But Krishna, he just gets better with everything. It's described by one Brajabasi poet called Raskhanji in Hindi. And he writes very beautifully. Dhuri bhare ati shobhit sham ju kaisi bani sir sundar choti. Khelat khat phire angana pag painjani bajati piri kachoti. Ya chhavi ko raskhani bilokat varat kam kala nidhi koti. Kaag ke bhag bade sajni hari hath so le gayo makhan roti. He writes so beautifully. How sweet is Yashoda's child, Krishna. His body is filled with the dust of Braj. And Mother Yashoda has tied his hair into beautiful fountain hair. And as he walks, it bounces. Makes it even more cuter. Dhuri bhare ati shobhita sham ju kaisi bani sir sundara choti. And Mother Yashoda has given him some prasadam to eat. Of course, he's the one who accepts it and makes it prasad for the whole world. But for him, Mother Yashoda has given little prasad, offered to Vishnu, for him to accept, so that his devotion increases. Mother Yashoda has given him a little makhan roti, which means a chapati with little butter and sugar in it. And he's supposed to eat it. Now that's very tasty and very attractive. But what's more attractive is his friends calling him out of the window and say, Krishna, come. We are about to start a game. Krishna said, I need to eat this. The friends said, let it go. Just leave it there. Hide it behind a plant. And just tell your mother you've eaten it. And Mother Yashoda is just standing behind Krishna. And she said, if you guys want to be bad guys, that's fine. But don't spoil my child. Right? She tells Yashodanandan, Krishna, I want you to finish your meal. I want you to finish eating and then go and play. And the friends say, we want you to play first and then eat. And Krishna, the Lord of all rasas and mellows, is stuck in a beautiful, wonderful tug of war where both sides are winning. Mother Yashoda is pulling him towards the prasadam. Friends are pulling him towards the game. And Mother Yashoda is pulling towards the prasadam. The friends are saying, if you continue to eat, we will never take you in our games. Now that's an ultimatum. Krishna feels, I need to go. Mother Yashoda said, if you leave the house, the doors are closed for you. Now, which means he has to come in. The friends say, look, the mother's heart always melts. Even if she says the doors are closed, you cry a bit and knock a bit and then she will open it for you. Krishna says, it's okay. Mother Yashoda says, nothing doing, finish it. Khelata khata phire angana. So in this confusion, Krishna's running in the courtyard. Should I play or should I eat? And as he's running, the listeners, the bystanders are winning it. Why? Because they are relishing the jingling sound of Krishna's ankle bells as he's walking around the courtyard. Khelata khata phire angana pag panjani bajati and piri kachoti. And Krishna's wearing a little, very cute little yellow dhoti up to his knees. Summertime. So Mother Yashoda doesn't put long dhotis. It's just short dhotis like Radha Raman. And Krishna, in this situation, looks so beautiful. Dust all over his body, fountain hair, prasadam in his hand, confusion in his eyes, jingling ankle bells and yellow cute dhoti. Perfect combination. Raskhanji writes, Ya chhabi ko ras khan bilokat varat kam kalanidhi koti. Millions and millions of cupids are fainting unconscious looking at this beauty. But the most fortunate one, he writes, is the little crow sitting on the branch of the tree who tells Krishna, oh Krishna, it's win for you and win for me. You go and play, I will eat the roti. How beautiful, how wonderful. This is the glory of one crow of Vrindavan. As the cows and the calves are drinking this form through their eyes and drinking the nectar of the flute through the ears, they are stunned, standing motionless like painted pictures, forgetting their own bodies and self. Teaching us, ultimately that is the lesson that we learn from Bhagavad Gita. Hari Gita Amritam Pitva Smartavyam Cha Kalevaram. By hearing Krishna's Gita, whether it's Bhagavad Gita or Venu Gita, one must forget oneself as the body. Teaching the whole world this lesson, the cows and calves reign as the guru for the whole world. Now, from this verse, let's move to the next verse. We were talking about crows, the glory of the crows. Well, the very next verse talks about the glory of the birds of Vrindavan. Welcoming verse number 14. I hope it's on the screen and you're able to see it. Prayo batamba vihaga munayo vanesmin. Krishne kshitam taduditam kalavenu gitam. Aruhya ye druma bhujan ruchira pravalan. Shrinvanti milita drisho vigatanya vachaha. Let's chant this verse again. Another beautiful, wonderful meditation to paint the canvas of our heart. Is everyone ready? Next time, I promise, and I'm promising, 100%, next time you see a bird, your vision would change on the basis of this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like love for cows and connection of cows with Krishna Leela, now this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam talks about the glory of the birds of Vraja. Birds of Vraja, that's alliteration. Birds of Vraja who are blissful, having Vraja Prem for the butter ball of Braj. That's Krishna. The blue boy of Braj. That's all bees there. Bees, birds. Okay. This verse is so beautiful. It talks about the glory of the birds of Braj. So let's chant this verse again, and then we will get into the discussion. Prayo batamba vihaga munayo vanesmin Krishne kshitam taduditam kalavenu geetam Aruhya ye druma bhujan ruchira pravalan. Prayo batamba vihaga munayo vanesmin. The gopis of Vrindavan are saying, Vane asmin, asmin vane, Vrindavane, in this forest of Vrindavan, the gopis are saying, the vihaga, which means the birds, are munis, munaya. Why are the birds compared to munis? Because there are many similarities that sages or munis have in their mindset, which are seen in the birds of Vrindavan. What are the similarities? First and foremost, what are some characteristics of sages, especially from the ancient viewpoint? When you think of sages, where do they live? They live in the forest, that's correct. So where are these birds living? In the forest and not in the villages. That's great. Second, what do the munis study? Scriptures, right? And what are the scriptures compared to? A tree, a wish-fulfilling tree. Vedas are compared to a nigama kalpataror, right? But the Vedas also have many leaves, many flowers, right? Many low-hanging fruits in the form of Sakam Karma Yog, Nishkam Karma Yog, Jnana Yog, Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti. So many different aspects of Vedas. You want to go to heaven, you want to protect yourself from hell, you want to fulfill material desires. They're all considered to be low-hanging fruits and leaves and colorful flowers on the tree of the Vedas. But bhakti, especially prem, love for Krishna, is compared to be the most juiciest, highest hanging fruit in the tallest tree of the Vedas. So what are these birds doing? They are climbing up these trees of Vrindavan. And they're not sticking on to the lower branches. They are climbing up to the highest branch. Now poetically, just like the sages have given up the lower branches of the Vedas and gone up to the highest branch of selfless love for God, similarly the birds of Vrindavan have given up all the low-hanging leaves, tasty fruits, attractive flowers, and they have climbed up to the topmost branch of the tree only to see their beloved Krishna as he walks with his friends. So they are compared to the sages. Also, what do the sages eat? Ideally, fruits and leaves, right? Traditionally. What are these birds eating? Fruits and leaves. So their stay, their mindset, their eating habits are like sages. And what's even more astonishing, Krishne kshitam taduditam kalavenu geetam. They are trying to see Krishna with open eyes, and as soon as they see him, they stop blinking as if in rapt meditation. That is compared to the samadhi of the sadhus, where they don't move. And then when Krishna starts to play the flute, these birds close their eyes because they don't want to compete. You see, the cows, they kept both those channels open. Through the eyes, they were drinking the form. Through the ears, they were drinking the flute. The birds decided, let's close our eyes and drink everything through the ear. So they are climbing on the topmost branch of the trees and closing their eyes and drinking the sweetness of Krishna's flute sound through their ears. And that's compared to the sages who are in one pointed contemplative samadhi with their eyes closed and they don't move. Another similarity, the verse says, Vigata anyavachaha. The sadhus don't speak anything else except their mantra, right? And the mantra is supposed to be kept hidden. Of course, not the Mahamantra, but the Gayatri mantra is supposed to be kept hidden. So let's say if there's a sadhu chanting Gayatri, he's chanting and he's externally silent and he's not speaking anything else. And these birds are like that. Inside their beak, it's described they have these transcendental nectarian tongues where they're saying Krishna, 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 and the sound is not coming out and they're not speaking anything else. So in complete silence, these birds have climbed up the topmost branch of the tree of Vraja, closing their eyes in rapt meditation and drinking the flute sound through their ear holes. The gopis in this verse say, all glories to the birds of Vraja who are transcendental munis from past life. How beautiful. Now talking about birds. That's a whole galaxy of discussion. I welcome you with open eyes, not like the birds, but like the cows, and with open ears and open arms into this beautiful world of the birds of Vrindavan. It's described. The parrots of Vrindavan are so intoxicating. How intoxicating? Very intoxicating. Krishna has a parrot pet, and his name is Vichakshana. What is his name? Everyone, much louder, please. Vichakshana. And he has, that Vichakshana parrot has sharp vision. Although he's a parrot, and this is given in Radha Krishna Ganodesh Deepika by Srila Rupa Goswami. He explains that Krishna has Vichakshana and Radharani has Sukshmadhi. Sukshmadhi. Dhi means intelligence and Sukshma means subtle. Radharani's parrot has subtle intelligence. And Krishna's parrot has Vichakshana, sharp vision. They're both parrots, but one has the intelligence of Brahma and the other has the vision of Garuda. How do these parrots help? Actually, in the Radharaman temple, there's a songbook called Padamanjari. There, the poet Guna Manjari has written some beautiful things about the parrots. And in other places also. It's described Krishna's parrot Vichakshana is so amazing that he changes colors. Think about it. He changes colors on the basis of the situation. And all of this discussion is based on this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're kind of bringing the consciousness to that verse. How does he change his colors and complexion? It's described when he comes and lands onto Krishna's forefinger. Vichakshana turns golden, reminding Krishna of Srimati Radharani's complexion. And as soon as he sits on Krishna's forefinger and becomes golden, he gives Krishna a hint. Now it's time for you to write a very sweet letter to Srimati Radharani. So Krishna, just looking at the golden bird, remembers the beautiful, wonderful, golden complexioned daughter of Brishabhanu Maharaj and writes a sweet letter for her. Now when he writes that sweet letter and gives it to Vichakshana, who also is the message carrier, the messenger, he's golden completely, carrying that message. But as he hits the sky of Vrindavan, he turns green, just so that he's not the odd man out. So that people don't spot, hey, that's Krishna's parrot. He just mixes into thin air like any other parrot. And now when he lands into Brishabhanupur or Barsana and lands into the forefinger of Srimati Radharani, that parrot turns red, telling Radharani that I am carrying the message of love. Because red is considered to be the signature color of affection. This Vichakshana has been described. He's so skilled that he can carry messages, he can communicate effectively, He can even pacify Krishna when he's in separation from Srimati Radharani. Vichakshana, the parrot of Krishna, is so skilled that he can mimic the sound of the gopis to make Krishna laugh. He can start talking like Lalita Sakhi and Krishna starts to chuckle. He can speak with the same voice as Vishaka Sakhi or Srimati Radharani. At the same time, it's described he has a nice golden tilak, this parrot of Krishna, with a gold crown in the center of his head, little head. And at the same time, he has very beautiful golden necklaces and golden ankle bells as he carries the message, the letter, with a red rose between his claws as he flies. At the same time, it's described in our Shastra. Radharani has her parrots too. Krishna has his parrots. Brinda Devi has her parrot. The name of Brinda Devi's parrot is Daksha, not to be confused with the personality in the 4th canto, who had a goat head. Brinda Devi's parrot is Daksha, and it's believed he has 100,000 parrot disciples. Every morning in Vrindakund, in our Nandagram in Vrindavan, if you come at around 7 o'clock in the morning, you'll find thousands and thousands of parrots there. They're all doing their little parrot kirtan. In the morning at 7 o'clock, when you come to Vrindakund, you'll find there, even now to present day. It's described Brinda Devi, she gives her messages to Daksha, and Daksha has a big disciples meet where he tells all his thousands and thousands of parrot disciples what is the schedule for the day. But how do they decide the schedule? He first dispatches the parrots in different directions. And it's not that he sends one parrot in this direction and one parrot in that direction and one parrot in this direction, not like this. It's described that he sends about 5,000 parrots in one direction, and then sends another 5 to 10,000 parrots in the same direction, and then sends another 5,000 to 10,000 parrots up after about 10-15 minutes in the same direction. Then after another 10-15 minutes, another 5,000 in the same direction. Now you will say, well, what's the use of sending all those parrots in the same direction? They relay back in real time. When they come back, the first 5,000 say, this is the situation. Mother Yashoda is in the kitchen. Krishna is just gotten up. Balaram is in the Goshala, etc., etc. By then, the next 5,000 come in. That's old news. The good news is, the new news is, Krishna's already taken his bath. And as they give real-time broadcast, it's not BBC, it's BPC. Braj Parrot Corporation. All true news coming relayed in real time from all directions. And Vrinda Devi sits there and decides how to unfold the pastimes on the basis of who's where. She tells it to Daksha. Daksha tells it to all the parrots. And the parrots beautifully, wonderfully fill the sky of Vrindavan with their green complexion, giving messages, announcing details. What we want our iPhone to do, give us reminders, announce schedules. All of that the parrots of Vrindavan do. In fact, when Lalita, Vishaka and all these Sakhis, they make plans for the Rasa Leela. They tell their plans to Vrinda Devi. Vrinda Devi tells it to Daksha. Daksha with all his parrot disciples announce it publicly to all the gopis that tonight the Rasa Leela is at this venue. And the theme of the clothing is this color. And at the same time, the songs are to be sung in this rag. And at the same time, the beats in which the mridanga should be played is this. All of you get dressed accordingly so that the Rasa Leela is in sync. This is the glory of the parrots of Vrindavan. Now the $1 million question is, you spoke about Vichakshana, you spoke about Sukshmadhi, you spoke about Daksha. But we've heard of two more parrots. Shuka and Shari. We've heard of these two parrots. Where do they actually fit into this parrot life? Is that a question? Do we all have the question of where Shuka and Shari fit in to the whole dynamics of the parrot life? Yes or no? Yes. I would love to speak on that, but it's time for a little short break for 10 minutes. So it's exactly 5:50. We take a 10-minute break now. Much needed break for everyone, as I've been, I think, boring you to death. So we take a little break, strategic break. If someone wants to just stretch, do the needful, etc., we come back exactly at 6 o'clock, and then we'll continue the parrot life of Braj. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki!